Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at a watercolor painting called Oaxaca.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's a landscape. It's a stormy landscape, but we're going to be kind of looking at it through the lens of some Zen philosophy, some I Ching, that sort of thing.
That sounds really interesting, like how those things all connect.
Yeah, so we've got a YouTube video, Echoes of the Storm, that kind of sets the stage for us.
Okay.
And then also excerpts from a couple of books, Zen, Art, and Enlightenment, and Zen, Art, and Impermanence.
All right.
So I'm excited to dig into all this and see what we discover about impermanence, resilience, finding beauty and uncertainty, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig into that with you. I think that connection between art and these deeper philosophical concepts is always really fascinating to me.
Right. It's like art can sometimes be this really accessible doorway into these huge ideas.
Totally. Yeah.
So let's start with the painting itself.
Okay.
We've got these really vivid descriptions to work with from the source material. Right? So we've got these dynamic brush strokes, it sounds like, and then muted blues, grays, and greens. It seems like the artist was really trying to capture the energy of the storm.
Yeah, you can really get a feel for it just from the description.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think what really strikes me is how those artistic choices, the brush strokes, the colors, they actually embody the Zen concept of mu, or no fixed self, which the YouTube video talks
I
about.
was wondering when that was going to come in.
Right. It's a really central idea, I think.
So how do you see mu playing out in the painting specifically?
Well, take the clouds, for example. The edges are blurred,
Well,
right?
it mentions that, like
Yeah.
they're kind of merging with the sky.
Exactly. And that lack of sharp definition, to me, that really reflects the fluidity of self, the way our identities are constantly shifting and blending with our experiences, just like those clouds.
Ooh, I like that. It's like the artist is visually representing that idea that our sense of self isn't fixed or solid, but rather, like you said, in constant flux.
Yeah.
Just like the forms in a storm, always changing.
Precisely. And it's not just limited to the clouds.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Even the way the colors blend and bleed into each other,
Yeah.
the lack of hard lines, it all suggests this interconnectedness and constant change. So it's not just about the storm itself, it's about how that whole scene, the whole painting, reflects this mood.
I'm already seeing this painting in a whole new light now. This is great.
Me too.
So, speaking of interconnectedness, one of the books brings in the I Ching.
Oh, wow.
Right, the ancient Chinese text.
Right? Yeah.
And it connects Oaxaca to hexagram 29, the abysmal water. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, at first, it might seem like a bit of a stretch, right?
You know, I was a little skeptical at first. Yeah.
But when you really think about it, it's actually pretty brilliant.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So the hexagram is all about water's ability to adapt, to overcome obstacles, to carve these new paths. And when you think about it, isn't that exactly what the storm in the painting is doing?
I mean, it is a force of nature.
Yeah. It's powerful and relentless, but it also has this incredible ability to flow, to change direction, to reshape the landscape.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
But how does that translate to, like, us? To our everyday lives? I mean, we're not exactly storms, are we?
Well, maybe not literally,
Right.
but we all face our own metaphorical storms, don't we?
For sure.
Those moments in life that feel turbulent, challenging, uncertain. So, think about a time when you were facing a major decision or perhaps dealing with a loss or a setback. Did you try to resist the change, to hold on to how things were? Or did you allow yourself to adapt, to flow with that new reality, even if it felt uncomfortable? And that's kind of the essence of hexagram 29, right? Embracing the natural course of events, even when it feels like we're being tossed about.
Wow, that is a powerful way to look at it. So it's not about avoiding the storms.
Oh.
It's about learning how to, like, navigate them,
Yeah.
to find our own strength and resilience amidst all the chaos.
Exactly.
I'm really liking this. And speaking of sort of opposing forces, the YouTube video also touches on the Taoist principle of yin and yang.
Yeah, it does. And I think Oaxaca perfectly embodies that concept as well.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. The storm represents the active, dynamic yang energy,
Okay.
while the land below, whether it's hills or a coastline, represents that receptive, grounding yin energy.
So it's like the painting is showing us that these seemingly opposing forces are actually interconnected, creating this harmonious balance.
Precisely. And there's strength in both, right? The dynamism of the storm and the stillness of the land below. It's a reminder that we don't have to choose one or the other. We can embrace both those active and receptive aspects of ourselves, find that sweet spot where we can weather any storm.
Yeah, I love that.
It's powerful.
It is. Okay, so we've got this incredible storm, this idea of mu, this no fixed self, and then we've got the I Ching, even a little Taoism.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack for sure.
It is, but it's so interesting. But let's bring this back down to earth a little bit.
Okay.
Like, let's think about the storms in our own lives. Yeah. Like those times of uncertainty or change.
Mm-hmm.
How have those experiences shaped you, would you say?
I mean, it's interesting you use the word shaped, right?
Yeah.
Because both the painting and the philosophies we've been discussing, they seem to encourage us to, face those challenging moments head on,
Right.
not shy away from them.
So you think that's part of what the artist was trying to convey?
I think so. It's in those moments, those storms, that we discover our resilience, our ability to adapt and grow,
And speaking of growth, one of the books, Zen, Art, and Enlightenment, it talks about Oaxaca in terms of artistic philosophy.
Yeah.
And I think this is where things get really interesting for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What really stood out to you about that connection?
Well, the book really highlights the artist's willingness to embrace imperfection
Right.
and fluidity. Like, look at those brushstrokes. They're not, perfectly controlled
Yeah.
or defined.
It's very expressive.
Right. They're expressive. They're free-flowing almost, like mirroring the storm itself, And I think that's such a powerful lesson for all of us, not just for artists.
Right. It's about being open to the unexpected.
Yeah. And embracing the imperfections, like not being afraid to let go of that need for control.
Exactly. And I think that openness is also reflected in the overall composition of the painting too, right?
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of fine details, and that actually allows the viewer to kind of fill in the gaps with their own imagination.
Ooh, that's such a cool concept. So it's like the painting becomes a mirror,
Yeah.
reflecting back our own inner landscapes, our own interpretations of what that storm represents.
Precisely. And that's part of what makes art so powerful. It doesn't dictate a single meaning or interpretation. Instead, it invites us to engage with it, to bring our own experiences and emotions to the work, and allows for that, personal connection, that moment of self-discovery.
I love that. So we've explored this painting Oaxaca, and we've really delved into these deep concepts of Zen philosophy, I Ching, even a little Taoism. We talk about impermanence and resilience, and the power of art to evoke personal reflection. So, what would you say is the key takeaway here?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's the understanding that just like the storm depicted in Oaxaca, life is a continuous flow of change.
Yeah.
There will be those moments of turbulence, moments of uncertainty, but there's also this immense beauty and wisdom to be found in that impermanence.
Right. So it's about learning to ride those waves, finding that inner strength and stillness, even when things feel chaotic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautifully put. But before we completely wrap up this deep dive, remember that question at the end of the YouTube video?
Which one?
The one asking viewers to kind of think about the storms in their own lives
No, right.
and how those experiences have reshaped them? I think that's something that's really worth considering, like taking a moment to reflect on that.
For sure. It reminds us that those challenging times, those storms that we weather, those aren't just obstacles to overcome. They're opportunities for growth and self-discovery. They shape us.
They really do. And they reveal those hidden strengths that maybe we didn't even know we had.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, if you take away one thing from this deep dive, it's this: embrace those storms, learn from them, and allow them to, transform you. It's amazing how one piece of art can just, bring up all these huge ideas.
I know, right?
And I keep going back to those brushstrokes in Oaxaca.
Yeah.
They somehow capture, the power of the storm, but also this sense of stillness underneath it all.
Yes, exactly. That contrast is really striking, isn't it? It's like the painting is saying there's all this chaos and turbulence, but there's this unwavering presence underneath it all.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And remember how the land in the painting, whether it's a hillside or a coastline, it remains solid even as the storm is raging above?
Oh, yeah, good point. It's it's unfazed.
Yeah. It's a powerful reminder that even in the midst of our own, personal storms, there's a core of strength within us, a foundation that can weather any challenge.
Yeah, that's really reassuring.
It is. We have that same capacity for resilience.
Right.
That same ability to remain grounded even when life feels chaotic.
So it's like those hills in the painting, they've been through it.
Exactly. They've seen countless storms come and go, and yet they remain steadfast,
Wow.
enduring.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Oaxaca and all these amazing ideas,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this thought. Remember those muted colors?
Mm-hmm.
The swirling brushstrokes?
Yeah.
That sense of turbulence and stillness.
Yeah.
Now imagine yourself standing in that landscape.
Okay.
Feel that wind and the rain on your face,
Okay.
but also feel that solid ground beneath your feet.
All right.
And let that be a reminder that you too can embrace the flow of life.
Yes.
With all of its twists and turns, its storms, and its moments of calm.
Beautiful. And just as those watercolor brushstrokes flow and adapt, allow yourself to move with life's challenges. Find beauty and wisdom in the impermanence of it all.
That's a good one.
And remember, every storm eventually passes, leaving behind a landscape that's been reshaped, renewed.
And so it is with us, right? Like our experiences, even the hard ones,
Right.
they have the power to shape us, to help us grow, and to reveal those hidden strengths that we never knew we had.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So embrace those storms, learn from them, and allow them to, transform you.
Love it.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Oaxaca. Until next time, keep exploring,
Yes.
keep questioning, and keep diving deep.